Means everything. The community takes it very serious, and we have to take it serious too. You can kind of see with like how the football games are, and then how games are when we go to Vegas. It's a big deal. So they call it the show for a reason. We're playing hard. It's just fun, to be able to play against, what represents kind of like the whole state of Nevada.
Has Coach talked at all about the rivalry? I mean, obviously he hasn't been on this side of it before, but has he kind of expressed to you what this game means to him?
He's kind of I want to say he's talked about it a little bit, but like you said, he's never been on kind of like this side of the whole rivalry. So it's more up to the vet guys to kind of let everybody know how serious it is, and I plan on making sure everyone understands that.
How do you feel like you guys are entering this one?
I feel like, we did some good things against SDSU. We have to take what we saw that we did well and compound off of that and continue to grow off the things that, that we did bad. That's just really just, our second half. We got to watch that a lot and really learn from it. We'll continue to grow, and I think we're in a good spot right now.
Seems like when you prepare for a rivalry game, does it feel any different than preparing for, say, any other game that you go into?
For sure, because the stakes are a little bit higher. It's not for, I would say, especially for this game, just because, all the way the standings are going to work out. This is a really big game. This week in general is a really big week for us. So it's just a matter of us really like keying in and understanding that this is a rivalry game, but we have to understand that based on where we stand in the Mountain West, we have to come out with a win.
Seems like they're playing pretty well of late. What have you noticed about them as you kind of break them down and their strengths?
They offensive rebound at an incredible rate. I think they're 10th in the country or something like that, or top 10. And they have guys that are stepping up. As of conference play started, they've had a lot of players that stepped up their game. A lot of their averages from preseason or non-conference, from their conference stats, they've all kind of increased for the most part in all their players. So it's just a matter of really understanding that they're playing really well, playing at a high level, and we're going to have to bring our energy.
Obviously, the crowd gives you guys a ton of energy, and you have so much success. At Lawler, we saw how they helped you against Wyoming. How important is it to get your first crack at the Rebels at home?
It's very important, especially coming off a tough loss. I think, the crowd's going to be really into it. We're going to be really hungry. We just have to be able to put our all out on the floor for 40 minutes.
It seems like the most of your guys' points come from the three-point line. What do you guys have to do to get to the free throw line better, be a little bit more efficient inside the arc, just kind of round out your game so it's not all on the three-point ball?
Yeah, just making a conscious effort at it. I think the biggest thing is just we have to be more aggressive, not looking for calls, and going there with the intent to finish the play, not really going in there looking or with the expectation of drawing a foul, but just going in there with, complete strength and just complete will to finish the play out no matter if the ref calls a foul or not.
For these conference games, you guys have the kind of live stats. Have you noticed any – do you guys use that very often in game? And then there's been some talk of the ball maybe being a little bit different. I think the Nike ball specifically. I guess what have you noticed about the stats, and did you notice any difference with the ball?
I don't think we've used, like, you talking about the shot tracker, right? I don't think we've used it like in game, I would say. We for sure use it for like the whole analytics things for after games and shot charts and stuff like that. It hasn't been brought up during any games, I would say, or at least brought up to us. But like you were saying about the basketball, the Nike basketballs feel a bit different. Those feel kind of crazy, but I haven't really noticed too much of a difference in other basketballs that have been used. But yeah, I mean, I would just like to say the shot tracker I think is a good thing for, practice purposes and obviously like your shot charts.
You guys have beaten them 4 straight times. It's the longest Nevada has had a streak against UNLV. I mean, how important is it to continue that and to show that, you guys have the superior program in the state?
It's very important. Like you said, we've won the last 4 times. It's important that we try to keep that trend going our way. We just have to stay together. We can't get too much into, how important the game is. We still have to work on just growing together. I think that's the biggest thing is just we have to focus on what we have to do in order to come out with each win. Yes, this is an important one, but, we have a lot more things that we have to worry about rather than just, the trivial things about basketball, you know.
Everyone's kind of stacked up, in the middle of the Mountain West. I think 6 teams separated by 1 game.
Yeah.
What's it going to take for you guys to kind of, come out on top of that pile and end up being a team that gets a bye in the Mountain West tournament?
Just really realizing how hard it is to win. That's anywhere. It's hard to come across wins, especially in conference play. Just realizing the importance of every game and every possession. Because a lot of teams like Wyoming, for example, they've lost a lot of close games. That one possession could be the difference in their record completely. So, we have to understand that, like you said, there's a bunch of teams in that same window that, we all could be in that spot. With one possession, a game could have been completely different. So we have to understand that, it's really important that, we care about every single possession, every single play, and, hope that it pulls out a win.
Your redshirt year, you guys lost at home to UNLV. Caleb wasn't playing. I guess what do you remember about that game and just, not being able to secure a win at home against the Rebels?
I remember that was a crazy game because, like you said, Caleb didn't play. And, we still almost pulled that one out, which was, it was a fun game to, kind of watch. But you can kind of tell, like, the community was a bit, kind of disappointed in us. Obviously they're still going to support and, still love us. But, this one for the entire Reno community I would say the greater Nevada area, is really important to them. We want to make sure that we make them proud.
Does it feel like the season's kind of going by fast? And I wonder if that's making the pressure on each practice and each rep and each moment just that much, a smaller margin of error, I suppose.
Yeah. It is going by really fast. With this being my senior year, it's flying by. And, you kind of grow up and you have different groups of seniors with different teams that talk about it, but you don't really realize it until you're really going through it. So, it's kind of crazy going through each 40-minute game and you realizing that you're one step closer for it being done. So that's why, you kind of put the pressure on everybody else to realize how important this is because, to some of us, it's our last go-around at this college thing. So.
You feel like San Diego State game was a step in the right direction? I mean, obviously the first half was really good, second half not quite so much, but do you feel like you had that energy and intensity that Coach really wanted out of you guys for that game?
Yeah, I think so for sure, especially in the first half, like you said. We played toe-to-toe with, the 5th best team in the country for 20 minutes. And, the difference is, we have to learn to put that together for 40 minutes. And, they didn't play their best basketball in the first half, but, they were able to figure it out in the second half. And that's something that we got to do is if we have it already figured out, let's continue to, build upon that and bring the energy. But, that's all part of it. We have to continue to grow and, continue to hold each other accountable and get better at that.
Coach has mentioned a lot to us how everyone's got new roles for this year and all that. And you're still hitting threes, obviously, but he's wanted you to step into a leadership role. And now that we're, 20 games into it, how have you embraced that, and is it going well for you?
I completely embrace it. I've embraced it from the beginning. I've always, since the moment Alford, came in here and I decided I was going to come back, I knew I was going to have to play a bigger role and a bigger leadership role as well. So from the moment that started, I started becoming more vocal. So I'm completely bought into that. It's just a matter of, making sure everybody's kind of, their own leader in their own way. And, with leadership comes accountability, is holding yourself accountable as well as your teammates. So if everyone could, kind of take that kind of step forward in their own career and kind of become a leader in their own way, I think we'll each kind of hold each other accountable.
Any more questions?
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
As you step into it.
Well, they're always fun. Rivalries are always fun. I always think they're more fun probably for players and for fans. Coaches, I think we get locked in on it's the next game, and it really is the next game. It's just it's vitally important, not just because it's a rivalry, but they're 2 games ahead of us right now, and we got a chance here in the next 2 weeks to do some things with our season, and especially this week, because this week we have the opportunity to get to 6-3 at the midpoint. And I think if this team could do that, it would be a huge accomplishment through the midpoint for what most of them are going through the first time. So that's big. Obviously, rival community gets fired up, Vegas gets fired up. So I think all that's healthy, all that's good. We just hope we play well, because we're going to have to play well. This team plays really hard, and they're playing very well. They've gotten out of the gate extremely well. They've won 2 tight overtime games, a double overtime at Fresno and an overtime game at Wyoming where they're down 7 with 1:20 to go and find a way to win. So it's got all the makings, rivalry aside, of being a very exciting game.
I think they've won 7 of their last 8. Why have they been playing better in this most recent stretch?
Yeah, that's hard to say. TJ probably knows more about their team than I do. I just think they're working extremely hard. They've gotten in a good rhythm. They got out of the gate early in January with some really good wins, and they were able to solidify things at home and then go on the road and win. You win at Fresno and you win at Wyoming, it's one thing, but to do that in overtime and come from behind, you just gain a lot of confidence with that. And I think that's what we're getting. We're getting a very confident team that's playing very well, and they're in good rhythm right now. And we got to try to find a way to get them out of rhythm because right now they're in a pretty good rhythm.
How do you feel like the rhythm of your team is going into this one?
It's been better. Obviously, we're coming off a loss at San Diego State, so it's not like we're coming off 3 wins in a row. And I think our toughness is going to get tested because we've lost 3 out of 4 games. Now 3 of those have been on the road, but it is what it is. We've lost 3 out of 4, so you just can't have that doubt. You've got to have a belief and you've got to have confidence, and it's not just at the offensive end; it's sustaining that confidence at the defensive end. I think we're starting to see improvements there. We haven't seen as much improvement. Coach Neal and I were talking about that. We'd like to see our execution get better. Our teams that have always been good executing teams at the offensive end. And we still, when tough times hit, we get out of the execution mode and get into kind of the self mode, and we can't do that, especially in league play.
Can you take us through that SDSU game? Some things you guys did well, and then maybe some things you guys did not so well.
Well, I thought the first half, both offensively and defensively, we did a lot of good things, especially really for a lot of guys that first environment at San Diego State, which is one of the better environments in our league. And we're obviously playing a top 10 team in their building who hasn't lost. So, they're a very confident team. And I thought we went toe-to-toe with them and did some really good things. I thought we took good things away that we wanted to take away defensively. And then offensively, we executed, and we got good shots because of it, and we made 7 threes. San Diego State's a team that hadn't given up 10 threes and haven't given up 75 points all year to anybody they've played. So to get 7 in one half, and I think 35 points or close to that, was a really good offensive half, and I thought we defended very well. And in the second half, when kind of the team came out and gave us a punch, we didn't handle that well. We didn't, we called a timeout. We tried to settle. We tried to just get them to execute. And I thought we got out of executing offensively, and that really affected us because we took some tough shots, took some ill-advised shots, and that's a great credit to San Diego State's defense. But I thought it was a tale of 2 halves of the shots we got in the first half versus the shots we got in the second half. That's probably why we made 5 field goals the second half, and you're not going to win a lot of games making 5 field goals.
When you talk about getting out of execution mode and into self mode, I don't think it's a selfish thing.
It's definitely not a selfish thing, and I've told the guys that. It's not a selfish thing. It's more of I'm going to try harder to do it on my own instead of knowing it's 5 guys that are out there at once. Who's going to pass the ball, who's going to screen, who's going to cut, but you got to get in the spots. You got to execute an offense. You just can't be in disarray. You might be wide open, but because I'm standing next to you, you don't get the shot. Or I throw you a pass and you got to reach down to catch it instead of catching it right where you got to catch it. So it sounds simple, but the execution part of it is really how an offense flows. And I thought in the second half at San Diego State, we didn't have much execution.
Lindsey's had a really nice season, but obviously the last 3 offensively have not been great. Is it a physical thing with him, or is he feeling good and he's just not really converting?
I think you got to ask him that. It shouldn't be a physical thing because of all the years I've coached, we're mid-January and we're hour 10 today. We were hour 15 yesterday. Normally 2 days out, we're a good 2 hours still this stage of the season. And so we've backed off the last 2 weeks. We've backed off a lot of just our court time, especially our banging of going body to body, just because we don't have great depth if we get injuries. And, again, I talked about it, Chris, and this isn't Lindsey per se. This is really as a team of what you do over break, how you get rest. Are you getting treatments with the trainer? Are you eating right? Are you getting the proper rest? Now, today we started school again. So now we're out of that break mode, but everybody has to take care of themselves when you have that free time. But as far as the load that you're getting with our season, it's really 2 games a week and minimal practice time. So he hasn't said anything, he nor anybody else has said anything really about, injuries or that pertaining to that load. I think he's got to see the ball go in. That would help. He's just gone through a couple of games here, 3 games where he hadn't seen the ball go in, and hopefully he sees the ball go in because he's doing a lot of the other things very well.
With the way UNLV has started off conference play, Coach, has it at all surprised you what they've been able to do so far?
No, it's not a surprise. I think they should just be pleased because they didn't have the non-conference record that they wanted. A lot of us might have been in that mode, but they've really jumped out in league play. You're looking at San Diego State has no losses, UNLV has 1. Everybody else is 3 or more. So they've separated themselves here as we get close to the midpoint. They get Nevada at Nevada, and they get San Diego State at home. So it's a big week for them too. That's what's going to make it a lot of fun. I think you're going to see 2 teams really fighting and scrapping and trying to do what they do best and then try to take things away from the opponent. But it's not so much as a surprise as it is, I think it's a good thing for them when you had the non-conference season like they had, and now they really have turned things in the positive direction. That's a great credit to what they've been trying to do.
Wonder what you've enjoyed about the Lawler atmosphere with a handful under your belt now, and what you expect for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's just like with the team, just crank it up to another level. That's what rivalries are. I'm not a big fan of that as a coach because I think players should be at the level they – if you can crank it up tomorrow, then why can't you do that every game? So that's a coaching thing in me. I get it as a player. I was a player first, but I was asked that on my radio show. I didn't prepare any differently for Purdue than I did Ohio State, or I did Michigan, or I did Illinois, or Northwestern. In my era, Northwestern and Wisconsin didn't win very much. And if I prepared differently for them, then our team takes a risk of losing to somebody we shouldn't have. And so I always warn our players about that, but obviously losing 3 out of 4, we got to crank things up. And it is a rivalry, and hopefully the rivalry brings that out of us, and it brings even more enthusiasm out of a crowd. And hopefully now our crowd has seen our team. They're guys that get along, they work hard, they do a lot of good things, but they're doing it for the first time. And a lot of these guys are going to go through, like last night at the radio show, KJ's talking about last year, the enthusiasm. He wasn't a part of it. Now he's in it. Jalen, he's in it. It's I've talked to Jazz about it, that he's gone from a 20-minute guy to a 35-minute plus guy in the target. So it's all new to these guys, and now here comes the rivalry. That's new. But there's a lot of newness to a lot of their guys too. And so it makes for a great game, and hopefully, our crowd's been great all year long, and hopefully it just gets amped up and helps our guys get through. We're coming off a loss, so we need help to get things going that first 4-minute game.
Curious, did you watch the Nevada UNLV football game, and did that tell you anything about the intensity of these two schools?
I can't remember where we were. I remember seeing more clips of it than anything else, but not much that I can really make comments on it as far as the rivalry. But I've been a part of so many rivalries. So this in New Mexico, UNLV was a rivalry because Lon Kruger had it going at a high level, and San Diego State, Coach Fisher, that was a rivalry. BYU with what Coach Rose was doing was a huge rivalry. So we've been a part of it, even in the West, in the Mountain West here. So and now that we're in the same league, because it hasn't always been that way. UNLV and Nevada have not always been in the same league, and now over the last several years been in the same league. I think that ramps it up because I've been in rivalries like Iowa State, which is a great rivalry, but we're in separate leagues. And so when you're in the same league, there's even, I think, that rivalry gets heated even more because you're in the same conference and you're competing for that same crown.
Obviously a very good offensive rebounding team. What do they do so well on the offensive glass? And it seems like you guys have been pretty good on the defensive boards this year.
Yeah, I think they get a lot of threes up, so you got a lot of long rebounds, and they attack the offensive glass. They got good athletes. They drive the ball at a really high rate. They'll get out in transition when they have to get out in transition. So we've just got to be very fundamental. We've talked about it all along. If our season's going to go where we hope it goes, we got to be more disciplined. Our effort has to continue to rise, and our discipline has to rise. And if any of those two things don't rise, then we set ourselves up for not a real good night, and that'll be the same thing tomorrow night.
It seems like a real crucial part of the season because everybody is so bunched up. I think one game separates 6 different teams from 3 to 8.
Yeah, our next 4 opponents are separated. UNLV's two up. But New Mexico, Colorado State, Boise were all within a game or tied. And so as you get to the midpoint, there's a big difference in we're sitting the midpoint 6-3, 5-4, or less than that. I think there's a huge difference, especially with your mindset as a player, as you attack that second half of the season. It gives us some momentum. It gives us some confidence going into that second half of the season if we're able to do it.
Coach Jazz mentioned when he was in here that not only does he want to get going towards the basket more, get everyone going towards the basket more, but also not only be aggressive, but to finish is the word he used. And I'd imagine that's something that
yeah, that's something we've been concentrating on. The guys have been we haven't finished great at the rim, whether that's bigs or guards, and we have to do that because if you just look at analytics, we're doing a pretty good job of shooting the three, but it's what you do in the paint as well, and that's where we're lacking. And part of that paint, to me, I always put the foul line in the paint too. That line might not quite be in the paint, but the free throw line, to me, you get to the free throw line because of how you attack the paint. And so we got to finish at the rim, and then we got to get to the free throw line more because we haven't been doing that, and we're a 75% foul shooting team. So it's a way for us to get some easy points.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.